What's happening, YouTube? So, I know I'm pretty late on the post game, pretty much on the post game recap. So, pretty much what happened in this game is it was just pretty much we face against the Utah Jazz. Um, Paul George, unfortunately, has not been healthy yet. Hopefully, best recoveries up to my man Paul George. He's a pretty much an MVP candidate. He pretty much was is keeping the Clippers alive, and that's a pretty good part. Nick Batum still um hasn't been playing either, but I mean we face against the Utah Jazz. Pretty much, they're fully healthy. They're fully healthy, but and plus we're playing at their home court too. Unfortunately, we could not pull it off, but I'm not worried at all because it was pretty much like most likely we're pretty much gonna lose. Like we were expected to lose, and honestly, I think the Clippers showed some bright resiliency we that we kind of held our own. Like we could have easily got blown out, honestly. But I mean, if you looked at the score, you're gonna think we just got killed, but we actually showed signs that we honestly could have came back. But it's just Utah just had everything towards their favor, and I'm not trying to put an asterisk. I'm not trying to put any necessarily excuse, but I mean, hey, like Paul George didn't play, Batum didn't play, so again, pretty much most likely it's pretty much all good. So what exactly happened and what were the issues? So pretty much Eric Bledsoe, he was actually I believe our leading scorer, had 20 plus points per game, that's actually pretty good considering it was Eric Bledsoe because Eric Bledsoe is literally like think of him as a swing. It can either go one side or the other side. Like it just like one thing that the problem about Eric Bledsoe is like last night he played really good. There will be other nights then he'll be like he would not he would just not be that type of guy. But I would like to shout out Eric Bledsoe, but again, good stuff, Bled. Um, Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris is he like lately he's been up pretty good. He's been pretty bright. Like he is showing promise that he could be like when healthy, he could be really good. He could knock down shots, um, be a tough guy, um, be a really good, be a pretty solid post player to be down low, and pretty much be a pretty good player. And and the thing is, like it's officially that the reason why Marcus Morris, pretty much would struggle is because of injuries. And pretty much now his knee is pretty much mostly good. So that's a really, really good part. Um Luke Canard, we all know Luke Canard, he's been killing it lately, but unfortunately against the Utah Jazz, Um, he had a really good first half, and then the second half he was off. Unfortunately, I don't believe he scored any points in the second half. But I'm not gonna really. But again, one props I'll give to Luke is at least he tried. He was not passing up the ball. He was not being scared. He was just He was shooting it. He was shooting it. But he was it was just not falling in. But it's all good. Like that's what I like to see Luke do. Like when Ty Lue plays him, what I want Luke to do is just fire it, and he's been firing lately. So that's at least the bright part. Like I know Luke Kennard, did not have his best night against Utah, but his on his defense he could try to work on being better. Him, but there are moments when Luke showed that he could be like not just a pushover. He could be a somewhat solid defender. Reggie Jackson, I don't. It was another again. Reggie, it was just not his night. Like it was just it was not his best night, unfortunately. But it happens to the best of the best. Um, Avika Zubach, it was another player that that I don't think he pretty much. It was just not his night, like again. But he did have some good hustle plays. Um, but I don't think he scored like. I believe he only scored like 2 or 4 points, or something like that. I don't know, but it was just not his best night. Like there were a lot of Jazz players just getting easy layups and all this stuff, but he did show some hustle. I believe when he got Gobert to step out of bounds, and then it becomes Clippers ball. But but Isaiah Hartenstein though, he was great. Like that was another bright spot of the Clippers. Hartenstein, he was he was showing some IQ. He was grabbing rebounds. He was bringing the energy in. And if I had to give a comparison for Isaiah Hartenstein, like I know in the beginning, like some, including me, kind of said Jokic a bit, but if I had to give Hartenstein a comparison, he's like a 7 foot version of Alex Caruso. What I mean by that is he does a lot of the little things that definitely helps a lot for the team. He brings in energy, he brings in good athleticism, and he brings in IQ because that's what Alex Caruso does. Except Hartenstein, he has yet to show that he can shoot a three. Um, and I'm glad that Hartenstein he wasn't really fouling so much either because, which means he's getting a good amount of minutes and more Hartenstein minutes, the better. Clips need to do whatever it takes to resign that man. But I don't really know what else to pretty much talk about. I mean, Justice Winslow is now getting actual minutes on the floor again, and I don't. And Winslow, I mean, look, I think he's a pretty solid player in my opinion. Like he showed a lot of signs that he's really good on the defensive side. I mean, he did get some key steals that definitely kind of helped us, keep fighting. But unfortunately, obviously, we cannot win because none of our shots were falling in. Like I said, it's just inevitable that one of the nights are gonna happen, and this is a really understandable one because, like I said, we pretty much did not have our key players. Injury is part of the game, unfortunately. But but again, not really much I could really talk about if I'm gonna be completely honest. But I the good part is I get to see some young players playing. Oh, speaking of young players, I can't believe I almost forgot, but Brandon Boston Jr. Look, now I know there will always be that one person who's gonna be skeptical. They're gonna be like, "Oh, what happened to Brandon Boston? Oh, was that just a fluke that he was good?" But my answer is no. I mean, what I said about when I was raving about Brandon Boston and the other young players we have, I did say um, that they were going to have some growing pains, and it's part of the game to have growing pains. Like I know Brandon Boston, he's been kind of a little bit quiet on the offensive end. On the last 2 nights, it was more on the inefficient side, but you can't always be perfect. But speaking of that, Brandon Boston shows that he's not just a scorer. Like of course he's a lethal bucket. We all know that. But one thing that's really underrated about Brandon Boston is he can contribute in other ways too. One big example is rebounds. I believe he got like what +6 rebounds, I believe, and he was a team plus despite the Clippers losing. Like and his defense, he could hold his own. I mean, yes, unfortunately, he cannot, his shot cannot fall. But but I'm glad that Ty Lue is finally realizing that Brandon Boston is the guy to play rather than Amir Coffey, and that's a really, really, really key part because it increases Brandon Boston confidence and they'll always and then it's just inevitable that Brandon Boston, he's just gonna find his rhythm and he's gonna be really good for the Clippers. Now, some other young players played as well too. Amir Coffey, I mean, hey, I have been watching the G League games, and I guess Amir Coffey supposedly does good there, but when he plays in the real league, I mean, it was not really his best. I mean, I don't believe he scored. Um, or maybe he did. I kind of forgot, but and then Keon Johnson shows a lot of bright spots. I'm not gonna lie to you because I really liked his defense. I really liked his defense and his amazing athleticism, especially that one block he did. Because when he jumped, his head was literally like it touched the best NBA basketball backboard, and that's pretty darn high. And my man Jay Scrub, like, look, I know. I'm a big proponent of J Scrub. I'm really high on my man, but unfortunately, it was not his night either. Like I know it was too small of a sample size to just judge, but he did not score any points. He did get two turnovers like really quickly, which is unfortunately that's the biggest weaknesses of J Scrub is always is his turnovers, and sometimes it's just he's not too aggressive at times. Like he kind of plays a little bit too passive. But other than that, I mean I believe that's just pretty much um what happened last night because I don't really think there's anything else I could pretty much discuss. I mean, but again, this loss should not be like really like it's not really an issue. It's just a big hiccup because again, Paul George didn't play. Um, I think that's enough. But go on to back on J Scrub. Um, am I still really high on J Scrub? Absolutely. I still definitely have not changed my mind because I'm not gonna forget when he scored 9 points in 9 minutes, and I'm not gonna forget when he scored 7 points in 8 minutes because that's pretty darn impressive. But like I said, he could definitely try to work on controlling the ball more often. But but I believe that's pretty much there to discuss. But I think that's pretty much it. So that should just wrap up this video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, or you can leave a dislike if you want. And that should that should just wrap up this video.